to the Ask the Lawyer series with the Voice of Africa, where we are going to bring to life all of your questions that you had written to the newspaper, the Voice of Africa. Voice of Africa can be seen all around the DMV or on all social media platforms. So we are going to bring those questions alive and answer them. Welcome. What is a green card? A green card is a what you call permanent residency. You have to acquire a green card, which is a little card that is green, to be able to reside here permanently in the United States. USCIS is just simply the agency that process all of these applications. Any applications you file for your, whether it's marriage petition, any visa petition is usually filed at the USCIS for processing. It's the same as a green card. Same as a green card. But that status allow you to reside here permanently. Now, when you're in lawful permanent resident status, you don't want to leave the country for more than 6 months, 9 months max, but more than 6 months. Otherwise, you consider your status itself abandoned. So you want to kind of watch that when you get into lawful permanent resident status. That's the step away from becoming a naturalized citizen. Your spouse can file for you. Your children can file for you. Jobs can file for you. We'll get into that a little later. But certainly being in that status, even if the card expires, you're still in that status. For a number of reasons. I think one of the greatest reasons, if they're citing some kind of fraud. If there are frauds on your application, which means you are trying to circumvent the immigration laws by obtaining benefits fraudulently, that could get your application denied. It can be denied also if they are requesting documents from you and you don't produce it. In the process of your green card, if they need information, they will send you what they call request for evidence. And if you don't oblige to those requests, it can run into being denied. So, or you just didn't prove your case on the merits of the case. But usually the number one thing is if they're citing some kind of fraud on your application. And usually that happens in marital filings instead of children filing for their parents. Absolutely. The process, the way it's set is if you file in all your applications concurrently, which is the visa petitions, which typically a lot of the times is the I-130, and then your green card application, which is the I-485, when you pay the fees on that one, you can file for your work authorization, which is the I-765. You can file for travel documents. So you can even travel while your application is pending. Before it was very hard. You had to do a waiver. But now you don't have to do the waiver. However, you have to request an advance parole while your application is pending. But they want you to work. So definitely. Typically, they give you a 10 years green card. For the validity time is 10 years. But most people, when they get their green card, within 5 years of permanent residency, I always say, why don't you just go ahead and file for your citizenship? But when they give you the green card, it can remain valid for 10 years. Or if you are in conditional residency, which means that when you got married, it was less than 2 years on the date of your interview. So if you got interviewed today and your marriage is still not 2 years, they will give you what they call a conditional residency, which after a year, you have to file another petition called the I-751 to remove that condition. So it's up to you. So an authorized stays, for example, is people coming here on the B1, B2 visitors. They give you a certain period where you are authorized to stay here. Most people who come here on some certain types of visa, F1s, whatever, they give you a certain time that you are authorized to stay here. Typically it's 6 months in those cases. A lawful status, it could be you have work authorization. For example, those people I filed the asylum application for, They don't have green cards, so they're not in permanent resident status. However, they have their work permit during the pendency of the application, which gives them a lawful presence here, where you're working. Anytime you have a work permit, but you don't have a green card yet, you can arguably say you're lawfully allowed to stay here in the United States. That is usually if something is pending, though. It's just fingerprints. Biometrics are your fingerprints. You file your application. They got to make sure you didn't commit any crimes. You're pretty good. So they will take biometrics to make sure, again, you don't have any criminal convictions that will bar you from your filings. And before, you have to take that every year, 15 months. But now with the new regs, you take it once and then that's it. If you get your green card, you got a permanent green card, and either 5 years have passed or 3 years. If you're still married to the person or in the same situation that you were in when the green card was approved, you wait for 3 years. But typically for residency is 5 years. One, you can't owe IRS any money. If you do, you need to make some sort of arrangement with them and be paying, or at least have an arrangement. You cannot be an aggravated felony, which means you cannot commit a crime that you've been convicted of as an ag fel. Someone has good moral character. If you fulfill all of those and you have fulfilled the residency number, which is 5 years, then you become eligible to naturalize your status. Assuming you have not false claim to citizenship prior to that as well. And so a lot of other things that can bar you. But when you fulfill those requirements, then you're able to naturalize your status.